Okay, so we're good now.
Yeah, let me get back. I finally upgraded my device. No thanks to you.
Ah.
But no, I don't know how to use it.
What kind of phone you got? What kind of phone did I send?
I switched to the iPhone. I got an iPhone 13.
Oh, so yeah, I told you that's what you need to get, and I sent that to you, right? You can't say you didn't get anything from me. It's the same thing I have. I sent you exactly the same phone, so you can't say you didn't get anything from me.
Michelle, you get phone?
Yeah, I'm upgrade myself finally.
Leo, send
It's
phone.
about time.
Wait there.
If he's
Nice. That is so fine. I can't find my phone. I can't find my phone.
But my allergy is acting up again.
I can't help you with the allergy. I can help you with the phone.
I can't find my phone. Everybody see my phone. Look like them teeth my phone.
Michael, say good night, folks. Good night. Good night.
So I wonder what these people are saying when they say they can't find their phone. They want new phone too. You know, that's what they mean. You know.
Can't find my phone, man. I never say a word. I just can't find my phone. I don't know where it is. For the last 20 minutes, it's just missing.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Enough things are going on in Jamaica and a whole heap of things. Madman a shoot up place and a foil robbery.
Let me tell you, I feel sorry that them disclose that is a madman, because I mean, we were all just so pleased to hear that citizens responding in a positive way. I know you're gonna say he's a madman.
That's still positive.
Yeah, but I had it that my military, my police officers responded and rescued the world and all of that, and I was enjoying that story. And then somebody come and tell me he's a madman.
In his world, maybe he's a policeman and a military man. We don't know.
I wonder how many others like him we could probably recruit. He was effective.
Recruit or pay for?
Recruit. He was effective.
What if he's paid? I mean, we could hire him at different spots.
Well, he's better than a security guard.
Much better than a security guard.
No, let me tell you.
Oh, that was a lady. The man angler bad. The man angler bad.
The man. I think I'm a one man.
No, it's a lady. The man angler bad.
Let me tell you, I celebrate her because just to be able to survive that, it must be so traumatic. No, man, I'm really celebrating her. Sorry about all of that, hush.
What are you guys talking about? What is it that you guys are talking about? Because we're going to set there, like, we're going to go to court and gone straight to the sorry, we're going straight to guilty and not guilty. I don't know, present no evidence at all. People don't have no opening statement, nothing at all. But yet we're gone straight to guilty or not guilty. What the hell? What is this?
It's about what?
What is it that you guys are talking about?
We're talking about the Wild Wild West, actually. There were some men who got out of their car to rob a bank. I think it was PC Bank. And while they were doing their robbery, this hero appeared from nowhere. We just heard gunshot. And then they all started running. And everybody was praising the hero. Wasn't he a hero? Saving us all.
Is Captain Jamaica or Superman in a Jamaica or something like that,
Yeah, but it really got to show that most of these gunmen are really cowardice in how they operate. And most time we see how they, creep up on people when they're playing, like games or going to their house when they're, So it really, if we have an effective plan, I think we can address that issue.
It's not coward, it's the way crime occurs is that gunmen or robbers or our criminals wait for the right moment, the weakest moment of the
Yeah.
of their prey, and so they're not go. If they go there and they're challenged, they're gone. It's foiled because they didn't expect it. So at the moment that when they went there, they don't expect. They probably saw that woman as a security guard and said, "Well, she can't stop me." They're at a weak moment, and so that's why they didn't expect that man. Whomever come with a pipe, a gun, or anything is unexpected, and so they'll run. That's what it is all about.
That is true. VM said, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Dee said, good night, everyone. Angela said, good night, beautiful people. VM said, why can't I see Leo? Jude said, hello, everybody. VM said, I got it going, so forget it. I guess you can't see you now.
Yeah. Well, there are lots of things. The latest news is that the Spanish Town courthouse is on fire. There seemed to be some disturbance in St. Catherine. There was an unfortunate instance of murder in St. Catherine last night, where a reserve in the Jamaica Defense Force lost his life. He was murdered last night. So the unfortunate mayhem continues.
But is it what is it that's going on in Spanish Town? It sounds like a siege that it's still going on right now and nobody can go anywhere.
You sure it's not Zozo?
Huh?
It's not Zozo or Zozo?
No. I sent you a video of people running all over the street because shut a fire.
Oh, so there's some unrest.
Yeah, man, serious unrest, and it's been going on all evening. So I don't know. Whatever is going on, I don't, this is not nice of me to say, but unless we do something that is critical and key to stopping crime, it's gonna continue and get worse. Because if the police, if the criminals think that the police can't stop them, the police now lock them up and put them at prison. The police don't have the weapons with them have, and they don't, and them have better timing than the police officers. Then they're gonna just continue and get worse and worse and worse. And in no time, they are in charge.
So are you saying that I should be very scared?
No.
Are you saying that people are scared? Are you saying that the diaspora is probably overly concerned that there seem to be a
I think
we don't have a lid on the management of crimes?
I think that's the best of all the scenarios that you said. I said we are concerned about our country because there's so much things going on from Montego Bay to Clarendon to Trelawney.
Clarendon and Trelawney.
Before Trelawney. Sure. St. Mary now for Robin.
No, but St. Mary. All they do was rob.
St. Mary. So
yeah, them afraid of St. Mary because we have the thing. We have the thing, the right thing. The thing, When the last thing we happened at St. Mary a couple of weeks ago, I saw in the news where somebody broke into a Western Union and stole they just go and pull out the thing. We call it the chest.
The money. Oh, them pull out the thing.
The whole thing and pull it out. And them spray paint the camera them.
Oh, so them couldn't see it.
But those are robbers, but I hate to know that we are at a point where so many people are dying. That's the scary part because it's scary.
There's explanations for it. The police is saying that the series of deadly shootings in Spanish Town is linked to an internal feud in the One Order gang based in the parish. And so that's what the senior police is saying. A heavy police and military presence has blanketed some of the areas, including French and William Street, Job Lane, and Cumberland Road. These are the areas where persons were killed, she says, And that was in an update beyond the headlines on RGR News. So police seem to have it under control and to have identified the reason behind it. So let us not worry ourselves much. Our police
are handling
it. But in terms of the news, the last time we did speak about that. We weren't having any songs for Jamaica.
No, there's a new announcement. What are you talking about? And please expect, we have no clue who the entrants are going to be, but please expect some big guns like Shaggy and we call it Coffee and all of these people going to enter. I really believe that's what, because the amateurs or the singers who haven't gotten the professional status yet, they're not going to be able to create anything so quickly, but the professionals will. So we might be seeing a great Buju Bandan coming back again for another festival in 2022.
Well, I don't know. I'm not excited at the prospect of that. I would have preferred that they would have revisited the entrance, the persons, the 123. One of the persons who did the review said that he only reviewed 30. Review all of them.
But they said they found 3 out of that. They went back and reviewed the 123 and they found 3. But there are 7 more. They need
but why didn't we just use those 3?
No, they can't do it because they started.
These people took the time to go and prepare them things and to respond to an application and enter their songs.
That doesn't mean they beat
them.
No, ma'am, I agree with it. That doesn't mean that it's supposed to.
What are they? Did I hear you say you don't agree with that, with Diana?
And that's okay. We're mature like that.
Let's reset. Hold on. I think
we're mature like that.
I think the gift of the phone is working. Let's reset this now.
No, but that don't make no sense.
You know, hold up a reset and hold up a backtrack. Because under pressure, Homestead Davis recants his gangster proposal talks.
What? Oh my God!
Huh?
What happened to all those who were supporting his utterance?
Well, I have a recant too.
I said they need to set it up the right way. Not the police. Police can't handle that kind of situation. They have to have an expert or a few experts on the same page. So, but we have to stop something. It has to stop somewhere.
Yeah, but that's the wrong message to really work across the, like maybe non-profit organizations are one of those, but not the police reaching out to them.
The police has to be at the table. But I'm saying that they can't moderate it and they can't conduct it.
Well, hold on. Be careful, what he called for. He says that Minister Homer has backpedaled on his advocacy for the state to negotiate with the St. James Underworld. No, who is the state? It would have to be the police.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, but however,
so I want to be clear that that's what he is.
The two can come to the table, but it can't be the police who is moderating and conducting the session.
Well, he said here he is recanting the proposition for the state to negotiate with. He never said to have a discussion. He said to negotiate with the St. James Underworld. So by virtue of that, was he also proposing that they would negotiate with Clarendon and Trelawney and Kingston?
Yes, I'm thinking. I'm thinking that in order for us to understand anything that's going on, because I heard you mention something a while ago about the gangs interfighting or in fighting with the gangs. They don't know. Do they know for sure, or they're just saying that?
That's what the police say.
We don't know. We don't know. I'm just saying let's have a discussion. I'm not saying that the police should conduct it at all. No way.
No, they should not.
Yeah, they should not be, but they should be at the table. We need to understand what's going on. We need to understand what's going on in our country.
But look here, it's not listen to the rest of the news item, and I'm reading from the Jamaica Gleaner, where it said that the man recant, and it continues. It says the controversy has been a source of embarrassment for the Andrew Hollis admin sparking concerns of policy incoherence, with Deputy Prime Minister Doris Chang and Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck embracing opposing views.
And I saw that too. I saw that.
Yeah.
So they're not in one accord. They're not in one accord.
No, they don't drive Accords.
They probably drive Lexus, don't?
No, Prados.
Prados. Okay, Prados. Okay.
Sorry, people. Sandra said good evening, queens and kings. Sandra said hi, PM. How are you doing? Lon said good night, my friends. Peter Gay said hello, everyone.
Hey, Peter Gay. Hey, Sandy. How are you? It's Sandy birth month. She's celebrating whole month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are we on YouTube? I thought we were on YouTube. Someone is saying that you can't find us. Yeah, we are. We're on. We're here. Ask me where on YouTube we have, but we are right here. It's live. It's live. Yeah. So I don't understand. We have to come to the table somewhere. But I'm really curious about the rest of the night. What's gonna happen for the rest of the night is if Diana and Michelle are gonna be Justice Minister and
No. We are adults here. We're mature.
I'd love to see this tonight. Tonight is just the start off good. By the way, we have someone coming up later on. Her name is Marsha Mullings. Marsha is going to be talking about stroke, cardiovascular diseases, prostate cancer, and we're going to have a whole heap of discussion. So, stay with us, because that's going to be a great topic. Cardiovascular disease have been one of the killers in Jamaica, worse than crime.
It's true.
My God.
What time is she coming on?
I don't know. She's gonna pop in somewhere about 10 minutes more or so. All right. But I don't hear anybody talking about.
Hold on, I don't know if you saw this article. So there's an article in the Observer that says, "Quit naming public infrastructure after yourselves," commentators tell politicians. Political commentators are calling from politicians to reject the urge to immortalize themselves and their colleagues by sticking their names on buildings and monuments funded with taxpayers' money. For years, Jamaica has adopted the common practice of naming public infrastructure. Some notable infrastructure named after politicians include Norman Manley Airport, National Housing Trust Building, Bustamante and Edisiaga Highway. The latest on the long list is a new shelter for homeless people in downtown Kingston named the Desmond McKenzie Transitional Center for the Homeless, after the Member of Parliament. No, really? I don't know that I've ever seen something so blatant. This is your ministry. This is your ministry. This is your constituency as well. And you do that? No, I agree with those commentators that no, you take a joke too far.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like that, especially him. I've seen other women other people who have led the charge, to get these people assistance, like I've been fighting for years to get it. I would have preferred somebody, one of those individuals than him just putting it. It's not his money.
I mean, you could have called it Elder Maya share or share of
something.
Some people somebody who's always advocating for the homeless and stuff. But
the evening time. What the name of the one that burned down back in the 1970s? Evening tide. Eventide
or something like so. Yes, but it's people who give them money. If you had contributed the money for the acquisition of the property or the construction of the building, but this is something for the general good. No, man, just call it the homeless center. So Kenyatta Powell criticized the move and called for politicians to resist the urge to practice. It's unethical. She believes it's unethical.
Is it a guy or a girl? Is it a guy?
The person thinks it's unethical because I don't know Kenyatta Powell.
I'm not dead yet, right?
No, I'm not dead.
And a smile on the country with his face, like so proud of himself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's wrong.
No, man, need to be a little bit more, as the person continues to say, hope that politician would show a little bit more thought and a little bit more circumspect and be a little bit more circumspect. No, man, open your face, blatant. Take a joke too far now.
I wish it was a joke.
No, but clearly must be a joke. Just like how Omar Davis made that a joke and say police and gangster must sit down and negotiate. So I must joke. No. Well, tropical storm blasts forms of Mexico Pacific coast. So that is storm number 2 now.
What name?
Blasts.
As in
BLAS.
Oh.
B as in number 2B.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a lot of rain today. Not enough for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Thunderstorm like.
With lightning and thunder?
Yep. Dark as ever. Like every evening around 2 o'clock, between 2 and 4. And then they get back sunny because it was like 80 something degrees. They just have to have shelter. But
it's sad. It's sad when we kind of have a jumping around right now, but it's sad when we go into political office for self-interest, and that's what that is. You're not showing your work; you're showing that you deserve, and it has nothing to do with the people. It has everything to do with you, and that's where all of a sudden these days you have no trust or any faith in anybody who's who's at the top. It really is a sad face.
We have to be mindful though that the naming of a building within the Kingston and St. Andrew really rests with the KSAC, and they would have been the organization that would have approved the naming of the building as such. Certainly they would have had their own discussions to seek approval to do that. So let us just caution by saying that it really is not the minister, it's not Desmond who would say, all right, name it we would not
know that.
Well,
how do you know that?
Yeah, we don't know that.
The naming
How do you know that?
The naming of the building reside with the KSAC. Let us say that.
Maybe just tell them because this might look like it.
Stop sending out bad information, man. Not telling people nothing where we can verify. Okay?
But the naming of streets and buildings reside with we need to get the approval of the KSAC. Let us put it that way.
So, but it only takes the minister's word and say, listen, man, if you don't do it right now.
The process requires that it goes through the KSAC. Okay.
Yeah, but you can't tell somebody say I need it this way.
Well, all right, Michelle and Leo, I want a building named the dad.
Exactly. Because call the minister. Yeah, call the minister and you get it. I'm telling you. But you have to even see him a card. You can't be in a Prado.
I don't think Andrew Holness have anything named after him.
Yeah, that would be sad. That would be a sad day for that. That wouldn't be the right thing for him to do at all. I mean,
and then if it's not right for him to do, then it's not right for anybody else to do, and they should take.
Yeah. But any current minister have any building named after them? I don't think.
Yes,
so.
Remember that there was one minister who had a building over by SMU by Caribbean Maritime that was named after him, and then they had.
Yes, did they take it at the Wheatley building? Wheatley building, right?
Oh my God.
Yes, and then you know that they should learn from that they had to scrap that because it never went down well with John Public. Why would they now come and unveil this big homeless center?
Because it's been more than 2 years now, so people memory not go so far back.
Oh, more than 9 days.
Yeah. Oh my God. But I don't understand how come I shared a nice video tonight of a guy who was performing, and drawing the crowd.
Tight
And
pants.
nobody no say, boy, the man they hot. Jesus, peace, the man they hot. How come nobody no say that to me?
You know, your
Alright,
tight pants. But you know, all of the girls them run up to you.
I haven't watched it yet. So Leo shared a video with Michelle and myself, and in it there is somebody singing. I just only see somebody singing. I said, "It's a somebody can sing and stuff." So
But
I
don't
never
tell
would
Leo
come to
that.
see. No, I finally know says Leo was singing. I was going to watch it again.
I have to see my dance too.
Only for whining.
I thought, to be honest, when I was watching it, I thought it was Leo doing a performance. You know, people perform at different venues. But
For
Friday at the end of the
amusement.
video, yeah, my friend at the end of the video, me hear people that say, Leo take over people's show.
I was performing. I don't know what am I talking about.
That's fraud around Leo.
I would
That's
when I would
like Dr. Diana. The
Yeah.
you can move on and make us so.
And him walk and tell people me can't dance all over the Everyone Peter Gracie with that. Read this message in there.
Okay. Lorna said, well, don't he name bro God. Peter guess I was late, requesting a replay, please.
Peter gear.
Sandy says that she's waiting for me to toast her with a mango. All right, I soon go down and get a mango and toast you. What time the guests coming on, Leo?
Right now she should be coming on right now.
All right, fine. So before the guests come, I want to share that on Facebook I noticed that Philip is continuing his chemo treatment, and we're to bear him in mind.
Is he continuing or he finished it? He finished it.
Yes, but he continues something because there was something about the rising cost of the thing that he needs, and there were somehow I think I saw a GoFundMe set up.
Oh, is that right? Oh
we
my!
will confirm it on Saturday. Persons can.
I saw him leaving the hospital today.
Yeah, but because he leave, that means he not still have bills to pay.
Oh, I'm not talking about the bills. I'm just talking about.
But I thought he was still
his
getting
health.
some treatment.
It's his health that I was more concerned about.
Right, I'm going to clip my video for a little bit. I'm going to just open this window.
What's his name again? Philip Demetrius, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know log in today.
Yeah, well, because I saw him with the walker, and he was saying that he was leaving. Last week they did some kind of ice treatment for him. By the way, today is Leonie Forbes' birthday.
Oh yeah, I saw this thing.
Today she's 85 years old.
85?
Yes, today she's 85 years old. And oh, look at she's right on time.
For me.
She's right on time. Somebody just asked for you, Marsha, and say, "Oh, come Marsha, not come on it. Oh, come Marsha, not come on it." I just had to say, listen, Marsha is on time. Just leave her alone. She'll get here. She'll get here.
Let me clear full here. Nothing of the sort.
Are you hearing us, Marsha? Marsha? She's not hearing us. Hello, Marsha. Are you hearing us? Marsha.
I love Zoom. How people are thinking that you can't hear.
Marsha, are you hearing us? Are you hearing us? You're not hearing us? So you probably is she muted? I don't know.
Sign off and come back in again.
To sign off and come back in and use the somebody tell her
audio.
Yeah, connect.
She can't hear you.
Audio. Connect
That's
with the
funny.
Wi-Fi.
She can't hear the instruction.
Yeah, true. Oh, I'll type it for me, Diana. Tell her to sign off and sign back in with and accept the audio, the Wi-Fi audio. She's texting you. Hold on.
Oh,
I wonder where Marsha come from. I hope I'm not chilling.
ready before. before. No, Trelawney, I think at Kingston. Wasn't she
Kingston.
here?
Where Clarendon she come from? Well, we know Clarendon, she not come from Clarendon, because she was
Oh wow.
At Kingston, cause she did the COVID thing, right? She was the one.
yes, she had spoken to us about COVID. So tell us a
Right.
little bit about her now, Leo, in the meantime.
I don't know much about Marsha. I know. I just know that she's a epidemiologist. That's all I
What
know.
that mean?
It has something to do with understanding public health issues, public health diseases, and all of these things. I don't know for sure. So she can tell you.
Just dead and gone.
Now where she come from?
COVID candid and gone. And I have a friend of mine who caught it today.
Everybody catch it, but nobody not talk about it.
Yeah, COVID going to be here for years to come, and we all just going to die from COVID, and they're going to pretend like
Yeah,
cancer.
Like, I know some of that had it, and they just said, come to work, just put on your mask.
What?
They're not telling for quarantine anymore.
nobody now look panic. I say America just release
Unmute, no, Marsha.
But they have one pill now.
Unmute.
you know if we have no
Marsha,
hear
you
us
hear us?
she's not here we
Say
again.
something.
You can call her and direct call you.
Say something, but she connect the audio this time, so audio is not a problem. But it's her speakers.
Marsha.
Marsha,
Give us a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna be with you in a minute. Marsha is very important to us.
Technical difficulty.
Marsha look tired too, you know.
Hey, she looked tired for you.
Hard.
Marsha, what happened?
For some reason I'm not hearing anything. So what I'm going to do is just switch to using the headphones and see if that works.
Okay, all right, great.
I'll try that.
We're not hearing you. All right, great. So she's gonna get her headphones. So what does epidemiologist? Let me see what epidemiologist.
Spell it.
EPI.
Epi.
Epidemiology. Okay, here it is. Definition. A branch of medicine which deals with incidence, distribution, and possible control of diseases and other factors relating to health.
Oh, so she's the authority on disease control.
Like the CDC should work for the CDC, right?
Okay. Oh, she's a big company, that's, you know, CDC.
Sound big, don't?
Yeah, but it's a big company. They run the whole world.
And them run the whole world. That's exactly right. And them run the HOO, WHO, and the PAO, and all of them.
All of them.
Are you hearing us now?
She can't hear you.
Yes, I can hear you now. I'm sorry about the headphone, but sometimes I do have this problem. So bear with me, okay?
Well, that's all right, because then they are trying to explain to the people them who is an epidemiologist. I'm tell her, say, me don't know.
An epidemiologist is someone who studies diseases, the determinants of diseases, the population in which the diseases occur, and causes, factors, that type of thing. All types of diseases.
Marsha, you couldn't study something else, a disease you have to go study.
Only people born at Kingston go to do something, Marsha.
And I was yes, that's right. That's
exactly
where I was born. Yeah.
All right.
What's they call it? Under the clock? Yeah.
Under the clock. You see,
under the clock.
if you come from Clarendon, you're a teacher. And if you come from Trelawney, you're an attorney. If you come from St. Mary, you know nothing.
You're a big musician. Stop it.
The truth is, you come from St. Mary, I'll be mad.
Yes. Yes, the opposite of science. Oh my God, it's good to have you again, Marsha. You remember these two ladies here?
Of course. Yes.
You came and spoke with us about COVID when COVID was rampant.
Yes, I remember.
But we saw
it is still rampant, I'm sorry?
How have you been doing?
I've been well, thank you. I've been well. We're busy. As epidemiologists in these type of pandemics, you're called on to do a lot of different things. Research, all of the stuff that goes into having people understand what's going on around a particular disease event, whether it's an epidemic, which is more of a rather large national disease outbreak or pandemic, which is beyond a national border. So you're called upon to do a lot of different things.
So
But you also take care of like diseases of the heart, diseases of the testicle, diseases of the what all the other parts, right?
We absolutely, we epidemiologists look at all types of diseases, and not just diseases in the human system, but marine diseases, animal diseases,
Yes.
and systems type disparities in health, these type of things. It's not simply a matter of disease, but health as an overall
Okay.
concept and entity.
Okay, so the monkey, what that name?
The monkeypox.
Monkeypox.
Is something that is emerging, and it's emerging because it's a disease that is endemic in parts of Africa, so Central Africa and Western Africa. But we're now seeing it in parts of Europe, in parts of North America. I have not seen any reports of it being in the Caribbean as of yet. I haven't looked on today's stats, but
Let's talk about that. How did it leave Africa and end up in Europe?
somebody must have coffee down there, Leo.
What? Oh, then go for it. That's what I say, because I'm hearing. I want to get into the story. What?
And they go foreign.
Yeah.
well, as you know, when people travel, we travel with all types of things. So we travel with that's how the pandemic arose. So obviously this pandemic, the coronavirus, SARS coronavirus 2, left a certain part of Asia, and through travel, through commerce, these things move from one area to another. And we're in the age of the world is connected by airplanes and ships. And so whatever is in one part of the globe will very soon be in the other part of the globe because of commercial air travel and because of commercial shipping and those type of things. The monkeypox is something that was endemic in Africa, but now we don't know that it was simply in Western Africa or Central Africa. It might have been in other places as well. It's becoming more apparent because there were some events in certain parts of in parts of Europe and in Gran Canaria, which is the Canary Islands off the coast, the west coast of Africa. So it is believed that there were some cases there that through the population, through people being together, moved from that area to wherever the people lived. So wherever they met in a certain place, and then the disease was brought back with them, on them.
All right. So,
like any other disease.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
And I want to just note the comments, and somebody is asking, how contagious is it and how is it transmitted? But before you answer that question, I wanted to ask, you say that it is believed that it originated in some part of Africa. But the truth is that we're seeing it now, but we're not seeing it in Africa. We're seeing it in Europe. So
Right.
why can't we say that it is in Europe?
No, we have we have said it. It originated in monkeys that were in a lab somewhere. I don't think it was in Africa. It's endemic in Western Africa and in
so
the
endemic
Congo.
mean that it is popular in that area.
Yes, it is essentially living in that area and contained within that area. The origin of it, I have to look it up. I don't remember. It's called monkeypox because they were looking at a smallpox type virus, and the monkeys caught the virus, and so it was labeled monkeypox in the 1960s. I'll have to look up the actual origin of it. It's endemic in Western Africa, parts of Western Africa, and in Central Africa. Now, being endemic doesn't mean that it will stay there, but what has happened is it has traveled based on the population of people who may have been traveling from one part of the world to another. We are now seeing it in Europe because there were some events that a lot of Europeans attended in Gran Canaria and other places, and it's now they essentially are moving back home or going back home with the illness. Did you want me to answer the question about contagion?
Yeah,
How contagious is it and how is it transmitted?
Okay, do you want me to answer that, Mr. Gillen, before your question?
It's going to be along the same line. You can just answer everything together. Because most of the reports that we've seen is that it's through fluids between persons. And so what we've seen is that men having sex with men is the most prominent that's been there. I'm seeing something here on my screen. You have been signed out. Who signed me out? And so the question that I have, if it's a animal disease, for it to transfer from an animal, if via fluids, to a human being, how does that happen, and why is it that
right? It's not an animal disease per se, so it's not considered a zoonotic disease. It is a disease that affects different types of creatures. The monkeys were the ones who first had the disease, or it was described in monkeys. However, if the lab workers are working with the monkeys, they're likely to also have monkeypox. So it started in the monkeys in the 90s. So it was called monkeypox because of that reason. It's obviously been endemic now in human populations for quite a while. It's a very contagious disease in the sense that you have to be in physical contact with the person's vesicles. So if a person has vesicles or the pox-like marks on their body, and you have physical contact with those vesicles, so you have to have close physical contact with the person, then you are likely to catch it. So it's transmissible by direct physical contact. It is not yet airborne in the sense that coughing, for example, or breathing, it's not aerosolized. So just having a conversation with someone, you won't catch it because it's not through aerosolized particles. However, there's a caveat to that. If someone who has monkeypox has active vesicles in the buccal cavity, the mouth or the nose, and they're speaking, then there is that chance that obviously it will be aerosolized. However, that is a rare event that someone has the vesicles in the mouth cavity or in the nasal cavity as well. Mostly it's on the face and other parts of the body, hands, other parts of the body. So yes, it is contagious by physical contact. It's not as yet, it's not aerosolized. So it's not an airborne disease.
So Marsha, should we be mindful of shaking hands?
We should be mindful of shaking hands with someone who has what looks like active pox-like vesicles on their, sure, absolutely.
And when you say
shaking hands in general, no, but if the person has pox-like, the bumps, it looks like the, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of, no, actually it's quite a lot more, it's larger than the chicken pox, and it looks more like the cow pox or smallpox. It is actually quite an obvious.
Okay, so you can't 10 chance to 1, you would observe that the individual hand not so right.
If they are, that's a nice way of putting it. Yes, if they have those pox like vesicles on their hand, you would probably not. It's best not to be shaking hands with that person.
So how is it treated?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Do they have a vaccine or anything for it?
Yes, the cowpox vaccine, or they're using the smallpox vaccine to treat it. But I think to get the smallpox vaccine, the government or the national government has to have it prepared. It's obviously in the CDC, for example, or other national areas. It's stored. It's not something that's readily available. It is mostly a self-limiting disease, which means that most people get over it. The case fatality rate for what they call the Western clade, so that's the West Africa variant of the virus, is about 1%. So 1% of persons who have the West African variant of this monkeypox virus will have, only 1% will die, if at all. Okay. If they have the Central African variant, there's a 10% chance. There's a 10% case fatality rate. And we believe at this point that the circulating variant is of the West African clade, meaning the lighter, the 1% variant.
Okay, so that's the 1%. So,
Right.
but what is it? How do I look at an individual and know that they have the central versus the West?
You cannot.
Okay.
That is done at the genomic level. So they would have to do genomic sequences of the sequence of the virus. You cannot tell that they have. So
I mean that they have to have a fancy machine to
yes, they run a genetic sequence to see, what the genetic code of that particular virus is. And I think at the moment most people who go for testing, very few are being actually tested genomically. So there is some surveillance though, and it's increasing.
What did we get on monkeypox? Sorry, I stepped away.
Because it's one of the disease that is taking over the place.
It's emerging.
Oh, God, I'm going to talk about strokes.
Yeah, but
Diane took us on a tangent.
She did.
My apologies.
No.
Him just sell me out. He would even tell Michelle, say, I need my question.
Yeah.
Just show me and I bust a book.
Oh my God. All right, so on Sunday, Marsha made a powerful presentation on cardiovascular disease, and as she says, diseases. Every day we dress up in a clothes. What happened to your skirts and blouses? Why can't I man see you in the dresses? All the things and to judge and that. I mean, you understand? So she gave a wonderful presentation on cardiovascular, and I thought it would be great for her to be on the show so that we can share this very important stuff with our general public. Cardiovascular disease is rampant in Jamaica, and it's something that we need to learn about so we can share this kind of information with the populace. So please tell us about your presentation on Sunday. We want to know about what is cardiovascular disease. What is that?
Well, a cardiovascular disease is one that affects, it's a disorder of the vessels that supply the heart. So whatever blood vessels supply the heart becomes a disease. And there are, as I said in the presentation, there are 4 main types. You have your cerebral, so you have the coronary heart disease, sometimes called coronary artery disease. So that's a disease that one develops in the arteries that serve the heart, right? And then you have cerebrovascular diseases. Those are the ones that the disorders that develop in the blood vessels that affect the brain, that those serve the brain. You have peripheral artery diseases. Those are the disorders that originate in the vessels that serve the arms and the leg. And then these are the 4 main types. There are others. And then you also have the congenital type of heart diseases, which is usually not apparent at birth. Sometimes they are, but they manifest usually in childhood or sometimes later on in life. So those are the main cardiovascular disease. Basically, they affect the heart and they affect the brain. The one that I actually focused on for the talk was stroke, because stroke is such a big issue in the Caribbean. I mean, stroke is one of the number 1 killers in the world anyway. So heart and stroke are 85%. I believe the study, the latest stats from the World Health Organization. Yes, about 85% of all deaths are due to heart attack and stroke, and that's worldwide. Now, most of these type of cardiovascular deaths are happening in what we call low and middle income country. Jamaica is considered an upper middle income economy, which means that we earn each individual as a general, each individual earns about $4,096 to about $12,600 on average. So that's considered the gross national income. within a given year. So we're upper middle income.
Diana has a question because you're going to touch upon something about income, and her skin catch a fire, right? So she must say that. I must say per year she has about a can per day or per month, right, Diana?
It's within a given year, yes.
Exactly what I was thinking. So that's the whole household money.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Did you have a question, Miss Diana?
No.
Okay.
I really was about to say that had to be the income for the entire household for the year.
Right, and that's the average, by the way. So some people make obviously a lot more than that within a given year, and some people make a lot less. But we are in the upper middle income category. We have moved quite a lot within the last, I'd say, 3 decades, because Jamaica at one time was in the low income category. So we really have moved. A lot of that is probably
just Diana's salary alone. Just Diana's salary alone. Just live up everybody else's.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But most of these deaths anyway are occurring in the low and middle income economy. And Jamaica is a middle income economy. It's upper middle income now, but it's still a middle income economy. Stroke deaths in the Caribbean region is within the stroke incidence, which means the number of new diagnoses is about 70 per 100,000 people. So if in Jamaica, for example, if you have 100,000 people, 70 of them will have had a new stroke diagnosis, right?
Diana, what I come up to? 70, what I come up to for the year? 70 times.
So you have to figure out how many 100,000 is in
7 times 28, 7 2 4. That's like 1,400. That's like 15, 16, 1,700 people. Jeez, a year.
Quite a lot.
Oh my God.
Quite a lot.
I want to just pause, Marsha, before you go any further, just to take up a few comments. Gavin says, Lord, me soon can't have any physical contact at all. And Hesab says, when you're shaking hands, you're not looking to see bumps. But I'm very wrong right there. So she very wrong this time because who me I look fit, you know. Everyone. That's it. Thanks,
okay, all right. So as far as stroke goes, stroke is there are 3 main types of strokes. The most commonly occurring is what we call an ischemic stroke. So that's where you have a blockage due to atherosclerosis. So your arteries get hard over time and through maybe the types of diet that you have. And so blood flow to the brain, blood flow to those vessels in the brain is retarded. So it's slowed down or it's fully blocked. And then you can develop an ischemic stroke because then what happens is you don't have blood going to those vessels. The brain begins to starve. It needs oxygen and it needs nutrients. So the brain cells begin to die if blood flow is retarded or stopped altogether. That's an ischemic stroke. Then you also have the hemorrhagic stroke. A hemorrhagic stroke is, as the name suggests, a hemorrhage. So essentially what happens is you have in the brain itself, the vessels, and the vessel may rupture. That rupture within the brain may cause or will cause a bleed deep inside the brain. Now that one is what they call an intracerebral hemorrhage. So it's within the brain itself. You have a rupture, it bleeds, the blood puts pressure on the cells surrounding the area. Those cells begin to die. And then you have obviously a hemorrhagic stroke. And those don't really come with a warning, and death can come very quickly from those. The other type of hemorrhagic stroke that you have is what they call a subarachnoid hemorrhage. So that is when the vessels that are actually on the surface rather than in the brain itself, but on the surface, those rupture. When those rupture, then you get a bleed on the brain itself. So the area between the brain and the skull, which is called the subarachnoid space, you get the same type of bleed. Leads to the same situation where the blood puts pressure on those cells around that area. The cells begin to die. You have brain death, and you can very quickly die. There is no real It happened. Yeah, there are no symptoms. So there are no really warning signs for those. And then you had the other major type of stroke you have is an ischemic, a transient ischemic attack. So a TIA, you've heard it called a mini stroke.
Yes.
A mini stroke is when you do have a blockage of blood flow to the brain. However, that is transient. So the blockage goes away eventually and blood flow is restored. So it generally does not leave any permanent injury and it doesn't lead to death. However, a TIA is usually a warning sign for impending stroke or possible impending stroke. So it is something to take seriously. Just because it's a mini stroke or a TIA and you don't develop permanent injury or you haven't died of it doesn't mean that it's something that you shouldn't pay attention to. It is very important because it is a warning, which is why it's called a mini stroke.
Do you know which one?
Wait,
Yes.
no, Leo. So some people not likely to get the big stroke unless they have a brain. So people like Leo, we don't have to worry about that. But I have to rib him because when I'm not here, I'm treating me bad. But I want to ask you, someone shared with me recently that they took their mother to the doctor and the doctor said that the mother had a series of strokes. What should they be doing now as a result of the doctor having said that?
They obviously should be monitoring her situation. She probably needs to be, if she's not yet on it, she needs to be on whatever blood pressure lowering medication. A lot of these things are caused by high blood pressure, diet, smoking, alcohol use, family history. So there are certain things that we have control over. We call them modifiable risk factors. So whether you smoke, whether you have high cholesterol, whether you have high blood pressure, diabetes, these are some of the things that we may be able to control through medical intervention and or behavioral intervention. If you smoke, stop smoking or quit smoking or reduce the number of cigarettes you smoke per day with an aim to actually quit. If you don't smoke, do not start. For example, alcohol use, reduce it. Sodium, excess sodium in your diet, salt, reduce it or eliminate it if needed. If you have high blood pressure, it needs to be managed within, the healthcare system, because sometimes these things are not simply managed by just diet and exercise. You might need blood pressure lowering medication, but a combination of medical care and, for example, behavioral, so diet and exercise for blood pressure. High cholesterol, same thing. Reduce the number of, trans fat you eat or medical interventions. So those things you can control, and those are the risk factors that you can manage. Your age, your gender, your family history. Having had a prior TIA or stroke, you cannot control. But she would be probably under a doctor's care. If she's had a series of TIA, she must be probably under a doctor's care. So they can monitor her blood pressure. They can monitor other things that are happening.
It could be a clot too, right? Could be.
Right. If she's had a series, it means that she probably has developed atherosclerosis, so hardening of the arteries, and therefore she's developing clots. They are transient, which means that the blockage goes away, but she's had more than one. So it's a sign that she needs to have probably more medical intervention.
Did you have any details on which of those is more prominent in Jamaica?
Yes, the ischemic stroke. So that's the one where you have the blood flow is blocked, partly or fully blocked, and it leads to brain death. So not brain death, my apology. It leads to the cells dying. So you're not getting blood to those vessels in the brain because of the blockage. That's 87% of all strokes. They are ischemic.
Whoa.
Yes, 87% of all strokes in the world and in the Caribbean and in Jamaica as well is ischemic type.
And these kinds of blockages are caused by hardening of the walls of the vessels.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, what are the main reasons for the hardening of these vessels? So what are some of the other diseases?
Right. Well, a lot of the reasons why our vessels harden is just because of the aging process. As soon as you're born, these things start to happen. Now, obviously, at a certain age, it becomes more prominent. And obviously there are things around certain behaviors as well, but the arteries begin to harden just through the aging process. You develop plaques based on the amount of cholesterol you eat as well. So if you are someone who's eating a lot of high cholesterol types of food, you're more likely to have plaques earlier in your life.
I'd like you to repeat that for Diana for me, please, because she's a pork eater, constantly pork eater.
I like the pork to Diana, but
Here,
I do.
I didn't get anywhere with that one at all. I didn't get anywhere.
I like the pork.
People them who eat the whole of shrimp, they want to be conscious about them cholesterol.
Anything that is high in trans fat will also be high in cholesterol. Yes, and shrimp has a lot of cholesterol.
Oh yes, it does.
Yeah, butter does.
Cheese,
Yeah.
yes,
All the things that we do these things have a lot of cholesterol. It's really about the balance and the moderation in the type of foods you eat. We all like. The reason why we like salt is because it makes the food taste good.
It's good, yeah.
Make the food taste good.
Yeah.
Let's face it, spices were used when people had no refrigeration. So when meats were going bad, they would disguise the off flavor or the rotten flavor of the meat by spicing it up. Yeah, the corn, exactly. That's where corn came in. Yes. We don't need that anymore as much because we do have refrigeration, but it still makes food more palatable.
Yeah, I'll make your food taste. Pork make your food taste good. What food is better than pork in the world? Nothing else. I can talk.
And also a bit of oil is good. It helps and aids digestion. So without it, but we do need to, these things should be in moderation. So yes, as far as yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I heard that if you drink a glass of red wine per day, it helps. Is that true, or is just a myth?
No, it's not a myth. There have been many studies. Numerous studies have been done where they show one glass of red wine is actually good for your heart. Let
me pick up my red wine right now, yes, sir.
No, that one glass is obviously, dependent on your tolerance for alcohol. Women are apparently less tolerant. So we have less tolerance for alcohol. And it depends on also the type of red wine. Port, for example, might be a little bit much, but another, maybe a medium-bodied red is not so bad.
Right. So you can have a Merlot Pinot or something like that.
Yes, one glass is good. Then when you start more than one, when you start getting to the point of inebriation.
Then
then
you to stop.
The returns on that is not anymore. So it doesn't make any, it's not the best thing to do.
Gavin was saying that if you could smoke marijuana when we say not to smoke, but I don't. Gavin, that is still.
Gavin, go ahead.
Right.
Marijuana.
Yes. So those are the three main types of strokes we say again is ischemic, which is 87% of all stroke worldwide, Caribbean-wide, Jamaica.
And just to recap for me, this is the one that when you get a stroke in your face drop down. So
all strokes are like that though.
All of them do that.
All of them, except the TIA, which is usually transient. But all strokes will lead to that type of. So those are some of the symptoms. You have the main. You have the numbness. Usually the bilateral numbness. One side of your body has a numbness to it. Your weakness. You have vision problems. Sometimes in one eye or both eyes, you have trouble speaking, trouble understanding speech, trouble understanding language, and it all comes on suddenly. You have coordination issue, balance issues. You have sometimes you develop a severe headache.
Marsha, that's in Jamaica term. What Diana just explained to you is dopey box you.
I have heard, yeah.
Okay.
So Marsha, you say that when that happens, is that there's some portion areas of the brain that are cells that have been deprived of blood. Is there any way to restore it? And then could we then restore the movement to my hand, perhaps, if I have a stroke that
is why it is absolutely important to recognize very quickly the signs of a stroke, which is where with the whole be fast. So you have balance, eyes, facial. Is there a droop on one side of the face? I forgot what the A was. Let me look that up very, very quickly. I think it is a B-fat arm. Can the person maintain stretching the arm without one falling or both falling? Speech is the S. So can they understand speech? Do they have trouble speaking? Do they have trouble understanding language, right? And the T is usually hurry up and get the person to the emergency services.
So, Marsha, how long I have to hold out my hand?
Let me see. Put it up there. One of them drop.
If you can actually do that even for a few seconds, it means
All
that
right.
you're well coordinated and you have no problems.
You're fine.
As quickly
Michelle, hold out your hand.
It might drop.
as quickly as you can get someone to the emergency service as possible, because the brain cells at that point are dying, and they may get to the point where they're so badly damaged that you will develop either permanent injury or unfortunately death. So the face, the drooping is because the muscles that manage coordination and coordinating the face is no longer, it's struggling. And so that's why you get the droop. That's why you have problems with language recognition or speech recognition. Those cells are struggling. With time, with rehabilitation, these things can come back, but we want to get the person to any type of emergency service before they get any permanent injury. Some people will always have problems with mobility. Some people will always have speech problems, aphasia, where it's difficult for them to speak or even understand speech. But we want to get them to the point where these things can be rehabilitated pretty quickly and they can get back to normal living. You know what I'm saying? Good recovery.
Timing is critical.
It's essential. There are certain strokes though that, like the hemorrhagic strokes, are almost always deadly, because what happens is you have a hemorrhage and it is very difficult to get the person to emergency services. But still, any stroke, as long as you can get the person to emergency services, it's important that we do that.
Well, Marsha, you said that it's important if you can get them to emergency service. Clearly, you don't spend much time at Jamaica, so we need to carry.
Believe me. Yes, go ahead.
No, just say, like, I have a quick question. So you'd recommend people to start doing their yearly at what age to ensure that
Yearly what?
the yearly physical.
Oh, okay.
Find out if they have any potential, in your family history, to find out if you have the potential.
As young as you can. I mean, obviously when you're in your early 20s, these things typically do not manifest. But as early as you can, it's important to have physical workup, physical checkup for all different indications, whether it's for gynecological care, prostate care, general wellness care, mental health care, all of these things. High blood pressure runs in very many people of African descent, especially West African descent. Everybody in my family has high blood pressure, on both sides of my family. So I know that there is a high risk of myself having. I probably do as well. If the last time I checked it was normal, but over time it might get to the point where I may need medical intervention. Diet and exercise alone will not be able to manage it. It may not get to that point, but I know that there is a good possibility that I may need to manage my blood pressure medically. So the best thing you can do for yourself is, if you have a healthcare provider, if you have a clinic somewhere, go and get your blood pressure checked, especially if you have a history of it in your family. And let's face it, if you are Afro-Caribbean, you're likely to have high blood pressure in one part of your family or another. If you have high blood pressure and other risk factors, again, the smoking, diabetes, for example, high cholesterol, then you also want to make sure that you're managing those things as well as checking your blood pressure.
To follow up on Michelle's comment, when I was like 25, right, 22, 25, I would go to the doctor, right? the doctor give you like 5 different pages of yes and no questions, right?
Right.
I just go down and no, all the way through. Nowadays, I have to take each of those no's very, very carefully. So if it takes me 15 minutes to go through one page, I have to, write the right one.
You have to get there really like 1 hour early. So
Yes, yes. Oh boy, those days, I'm telling you. All right, so diabetes is a culprit in our country because it's a disease that affects almost every vessel and every organ in your body, right? And so when you have diabetes, it kind of escalates the problem more.
Absolutely, yes. It's one of the what we call comorbid conditions. So maybe you have, let's say you have a heart problem, and then you also have diabetes. You have a comorbidity. So you have heart and diabetes, and you might also have hypertension. You have comorbid condition. And diabetes is because it's a metabolic disease. So, it affects everything. Food, your endocrine system, all of that depends on, it's a metabolic disease. And so everything goes through the endocrine system and it goes everywhere in your body. So a diabetes, for example, you might struggle to lower your cholesterol because of your diabetes. You might struggle to with your diabetes because of your high cholesterol. Your hypertension may be higher because of the endocrine system. So it is one that has to be managed. Your blood glucose affects everything else. It affects all your other functioning, and so that has to be well managed as well.
Marsha, I know somebody who eat a lot of mangoes, and they said,
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
should they be mindful? Is Michelle really asking for? Michelle, be careful.
Should they be mindful of how much?
How much mango?
That she eat a day.
I have that problem too because I love mangoes, and my favorite is East Indian. But mango is pretty high in sugar. I mean, it's a beautiful fruit. It's a wonderful fruit.
Michelle, Marsha, put it down. It's a wonderful fruit. I set you up now. All right.
It's my favorite fruit. However, it's high. It's high in sugar content. So, I mean, I wouldn't sit down and eat 20, what do you call it, number 9 or number 11? Yeah, I wouldn't sit down and eat 20 of those a day. That is a lot of sugar. I would eat 1 or 2. You know what I mean?
Not a day. 1 today and 1 day after tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
What kind of mango that? That would have to be a big mango to eat just 1 a day. When you go and you stop and you buy black, you have to buy 1.5 dozen black mango. And you buy another 1.5 dozen for your neighbor. The
black is too full of worm though. They tend to have a
No. You wait till night come, you sit down. Turn off the lights.
Hold on. Are you still talking from Michelle? Oh my God.
So really now, Doctor, you're saying to us that we need to be mindful of how many mangoes we consume, particularly during the mango season.
Well, again, it's about the sugar content, and mango is particular. Some mangoes are sweeter and have a higher sugar content than others. What we call the table mangoes, the one that I don't like that much because they have the kind of pulpy. Those are not as sweet, but the ones that I prefer, like the Julie and the East Indian and the number 11, super sweet. Yes, so I would really maybe stay away from the super sweet ones and eat more of the table mango. The Bombay type thing.
Marsha, let me tell you what the problem is, right? The problem is, when we wake up morning time, we eat about 6 slices of bread, right? When it comes lunchtime, we have patty and cocoa bread and everything, right? And eating, we have yam and dumpling and cocoa and dashing and all of these things put up on the plate, right? And then we eat at 8 o'clock in the night, we eat 20 mango. And so, oh, system. This is
That
you
is
not
the
get no
problem.
rest. You not get no rest at all. You know, no rest for the
Not
wicked.
get no rest.
The system.
Well,
Yeah.
you can cut out the bread in the morning and just eat 2 mango. You can cut out the dinner at lunchtime. You can eat the lunchtime meal and you can eat some light supper and then you eat 2 more mangoes.
Yeah, that's it. Again, everything comes down to
And
moderation.
see, somebody say you must eat. Well, Noreen says, yes, Leo, it's best to answer those questions truthfully. Somebody says, eat the mango, then drink aloe vera.
I got St. Thomas.
Norma says that she's a something stroke survivor, which happened while I was at work. I was also told that I had blood clotting deficit was primary cause of the stroke. I was in the, I take it must be hospital. There's a little thing here, percentage that bled after I was given the TPA. I am blessed to be here.
TPA, the music was pretty bad.
Yes, I have to be. She says she's blessed to be here. I've recovered a lot. However, I do have sided weakness. I will speak clearly, and then side droop has resolved.
Okay, wow, okay, yeah.
Gavin says, I believe the sugar in fruits are made to supply the body, so therefore it will not harm the body as many may think. No, well, Gavin,
No. The body don't know what kind of sugar come now. He just knows that sugar come.
Yeah. and Patricia said, cut out everything and just eat the mango them.
I agree.
But then you will have deficits in other important nutrients if you simply eat mangoes. I would like that as well, but you would have a deficit in all the other things. So we need a balance of everything. And
could you also tell certain people here that water without syrup, water without any kind of mixture, right? Just pure water is good for the system to flush it out and thing. Could you tell her from it?
It is, but we know that. Water is it.
I don't know. Leo don't know that. But but Michelle again, no. What is wrong if she does put a little bit of syrup in the water because she don't like the taste of just the pure water?
Simply it adds sugar. It adds unnecessary sugar to something that you don't need it in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if she doesn't, if her sugar content, if her sugar consumption is low,
Go ahead, Marsha.
If her sugar consumption is otherwise low, then having a little bit of syrup to the water does do. Again, it comes out to a balance. How much are you eating within a day? How much are you consuming within a day? So if you're having the mango and the syrup and all of that stuff,
And Marsha, the other thing that is risky also is if your mom and dad have diabetes and high blood pressure and something, because there's a likelihood that you are going to get it, so you are at risk. So hereditary factor.
Right, there is a genetic link there, and we know there's a genetic link with hypertension, obviously. And so hypertensive people are likely with other issues to develop higher risk for stroke. Doesn't mean that they will have it. There are lots of people that have high blood pressure, but they will never have a stroke. However, they are at greater risk for a stroke. You know, it's like people who smoke. Lots of people smoke, and most smokers do not get lung cancer. However, smoking itself predisposes you to lung cancer. Right, absolutely. So high blood pressure doesn't necessarily mean that you're inevitably going to have a stroke, but it does mean that you're at greater risk of a stroke, and you must manage that high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and all those things. Like with the issue around prostate cancer
yes, we haven't even talked about that yet.
We do need to the prostate cancer rate in Jamaica is number 3 in the world. So the death rate, that is, that out of 169 measured countries, so they measured 169 countries for this particular disease. Jamaica has the 3rd highest rate of death. We are a country of about 2.9 million individuals, and yet our death rate is third highest in the world. That isn't great. Now, a lot of that is because we are Caribbean. There is a link, a genetic link. They're not quite sure yet, but there's a genetic link to higher risk of prostate cancer among Afro-Caribbean individuals, men.
But it's also a lifestyle. It's also a lifestyle kind of. Didn't they say your eating habits and your exercise and all that stuff has something to do with it?
With prostate cancer, yes, things like obesity definitely is one of the risk factors. But for Jamaican and for Caribbean men in particular, a lot of the risk factors around dying from prostate cancer is behavioral. So they present later to the doctor, to the hospital. So at a time
okay.
Because prostate cancer, if caught early, they have what they call a 96%
Yes. Okay. See what you're saying.
5-year survival rate. And
You're actually talking about the death, not the
death.
not the incidence of, but
right, but the death. Right. So, most
that's ego.
It may be.
Nobody don't want. None of these men don't want to say, "Boy, me have stoppage of water," or that kind of thing. They don't want to say.
Prostate cancer evidence is itself like stoppage of water.
No, the symptoms of if you are at an advanced stage, a lot of prostate cancer, you will die before you even know. For some people who have, or for some men who have prostate cancer, it is localized and it never metastasized. So a lot of men don't even know that they had prostate cancer. They live, they die of other causes or just of old age because the cancer never metastasized. Many prostate cancers are what they call slow growing. So it takes quite a long time for it to become a problem, and you may die before that prostate cancer becomes a problem. However, among Caribbean men, there seems to be a more aggressive strain. So a strain that is more quickly growing. Caribbean men tend to present, especially Jamaican men, tend to present later at the hospital. This is when they are struggling with things like urinary incontinence, and frequency. So they need to use the bathroom more at night. There are other signs like blood in the urine. It's not a great situation. Blood in the semen. If you are struggling with that, you have a serious problem. If you are seeing blood in the urine, if you're seeing blood in your semen, you are likely to have some sort of prostate issue. Now, you could have benign prostate hyperplasia, which means that the prostate itself has grown but is not cancerous. That can also cause incontinence. It can cause frequency, a weak urine stream, for example, or intermittent flow of the urine, but it will not cause blood in the urine.
I'll be honest with you, Marsha. Me have problems with somebody term them, right? The incontinent thing and the intermittent thing. You have to tell me like say, boy, me a drip, me a drip enough.
There you go.
That more hearing term there.
All right. The intermittent flow means it start and it stop. And it stop. That is normally that's not how the urine stream flows. It starts and then, but that's the start and stop. That's the intermittent flow. The weak flow it's just not as strong as it normally is. Okay. As I said, blood in the urine is a sign that you may actually have there may actually be cancer rather than just a benign prostate, a hyperplasia, which is meaning it's growing and it's larger. Some of the other side effects are erectile dysfunction, inability to either have an erection or to maintain one.
Soft. When your stuff soft, right? And it can't, can't bounce back. Okay.
Patricia, VM herself says, is okra water good for you?
I'm sure okra itself is good for you. It's quite a good fruit. Is it a fruit or a veggie? I think orange is a fruit.
Veggie, yeah.
Yeah. So
Patricia
it's
Bond
good.
says that add lemon or lime to the water, Dr. Diana, or a couple slices of cocoa. Oh, she mean Dr. Diana is Michelle. I want to live to see 900. And Noreen says, how often should men get their prostate checked?
Good question.
Well, there is a lot of not controversy, but question around the efficacy, meaning whether or not it's a good idea for men to have the prostate screening, because what they're saying is if they do find that your PSA, which is a prostate specific antigen, if it's above a certain, like 4 is a cut, like the borderline, then if it's above that, should you then start to do intervention? Because the interventions can be quite
invasive.
Yeah, they can be invasive and they can be debilitating.
Right.
That may result in nothing. You could have a high PSA and nothing comes of it.
Yes.
Now, you know, there is a PSA and then there's the digital rectal exam, which I think a lot of men find reprehensible, especially Jamaican.
What is it called? You have to remind me of it.
Digital rectal exam.
Okay, could you tell the people why it's called digital?
Yeah.
I mean, things that I thought it had to do with like a calculator or a computer thing. So please tell them what I mean by digital.
It's essentially a digit, one of the
finger.
Usually this one, yes, the forefinger. It's gloved and it's inserted into the rectum. Sometimes the prostate is situated in front of the rectum. So the digital exam, they can physically feel if there are bumps on the actual prostate.
So that's why they're late all the time, because most Jamaican men don't want to be touched that way, and that's the problem.
I think they're probably it's beyond simply that it's a little bit discomforting or culturally discomforting to have that digital rectal exam. It's it's not something that is culturally
comfortable.
Yes, very comfortable. And a lot of men will wait until, or they're not aware that there's anything wrong until they're developing that weak urine stream, for example, or the stop-start urine, or in the worst situations, blood in the urine or blood in the semen. And I
have a story for you. So a few years ago, I went to the doctor, right, and they did my prostate screening, the PSA, and she said everything is okay. You know. When I got home, I look at the thing. I saw 4. And I write back to her and said, what do you mean everything is? I thought 4 is the cut mark. What are you talking about? And she wrote back to me and said, oh, it's 0.4.
Yes. 4 nanograms is what they call the borderline. However, you could be as high as 30 and not have prostate or get prostate cancer. What will happen at a 4, at least in America, I'm not sure, and Jamaica has the same model anyway. So what will happen at a 4 is what they call watchful waiting, meaning they'll tell you, all right, we'll watch it. We'll take, you come back in 6 months or you come back in a year, we do another PSA, we may have to do a digital rectal exam, and we'll watch it. The most likely scenario is you will just have a localized issue and you will never have to worry about it. You can live your normal life. However, we need to watch it because it may get to a point. As I will say, Caribbean men, there is what they call a more aggressive germline, meaning genetically, at the genetic level, we seem to have a germline that predisposes us to a more aggressive form of prostate cancer. So whereas others will have something that just doesn't grow very quickly, or it might grow a little bit more quickly, or in some cases a lot more quickly. If you have had a brother with prostate cancer, your risk increases tenfold. If you
or a father.
Right, but the brother is even more than the father. If
is that right?
Yes, if you've had a sister with breast cancer, your risk is also higher for prostate cancer because it's the same type of mutation within the same line, within the same allele of gene. The BRCA1 or 2, which is breast cancer type 1 or 2, is also...
But breast cancer tends, if you don't treat it, it tends to metastasize, though, right?
It depends on the staging. Yes, it
Oh, I
depends on the
see.
staging. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah. Breast cancer tend to be a lot more aggressive anyway than prostate cancer. And the
Yes.
5-year survival rate for breast cancer is a lot less pretty than for prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is a problem in the Caribbean and in Jamaica in particular because it is something that is so manageable.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that if we attend to these things,
Early.
quickly and early, it's it's manageable. We need to make sure that our men are getting the care that they need. We shouldn't have the third highest.
No, that's
know?
scary. Just
Really
the thought of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not that we're uneducated or so
Certainly not.
bush that
Certainly
we don't
not. No,
understand the
absolutely
concept of
not.
it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. There needs to be a deliberate attempt at educating the younger people as to the reasons why they ought to get past this foolishness of not having themselves examined.
Yeah.
Or responding to recognizing what is happening to them, that if them having the difficulty urinating or the difficulty having an erection or whatever it is or sustaining it, then these are things. But I suppose when they have those kind of challenges, all them do is just go and buy a little blue pill and then think that that is the answer to the solution rather than go fix it.
Yeah, and it is actually not recommended to have the PSA or the digital rectal exam prior to age 40 because it's the incidence of prostate cancer in that age group is pretty low. Right. When you start hitting 40 to 45 and above 55, then the risk of prostate cancer increases a lot more, and obviously over 65 as well.
Marsha, I'm so proud to have you as an expert in these things because I'm telling you,
expert is a bit of a stretch.
Oh no, man! to me, you're a big expert because me don't know other than thing. Look on Dan. Dan I feel I threw off the question then from Michelle instead of answer because she shame. She shame.
You leave Miss Diana alone, okay?
Low me now.
There you go.
So we're so happy that you are able to join us tonight and show us a little bit more into these diseases, and I'm sure that you have a lot more that bother us that you can
Absolutely.
share.
We're going to have a lot of these conversations. We need to have a lot of these conversations.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Dan, I know Dan has another question or a comment.
No, I don't have no more question right now, but I really want to endorse what Leo has said, Marsha, that it has been most enlightening just sitting and picking your brain. We've walked through the COVID, we touched that briefly. Then we got into the chicken pox and the monkey pox, monkey pox rather, and now to speak about prostate cancer. And my takeaway in terms of wrapping up the prostate part of it is that as the man reach 45, we need to be sending him or dragging him hollering and screaming to get an examination.
Right.
You shouldn't wait for stoppage of water. You shouldn't wait for slow down flow. You shouldn't wait for all of those things. Just go get a test and
go and get the test. Yes, and then you and your doctor will decide how you're going to approach it. Most likely, he or she will say, if we see anything, we're gonna watch it. But more likely,
My friend has a 4, and it's like him take all 15, 20 saw palmetto. Saw palmetto, is it?
Yes, saw palmetto.
Saw palmetto tablets at daytime, and so he can't take enough, and he want it to go down.
Well, that is the thing to reduce the
It's herbal. It's herbal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually one of the remedies for the enlarged prostate. It doesn't actually do anything if you actually have a cancer. However, for the symptoms from your enlarged prostate, it's very helpful. So the urgency and the frequency and all of those things.
Well, let me expand a little bit too. He got up one morning, he said, and he could not urinate.
What?
He wanted to, but he couldn't. And he says, Leo, that are the roughest thing never happened in my life.
Absolutely. It's
and they had to take him in emergency, to take him to the hospital, and they did some things and got it out. And he said that was the biggest relief in life. So, yeah.
That's probably because the prostate has enlarged to a point where it's pressing down on the urethra and the flow isn't leaving from the kidneys out through. Yeah. Because the urethra goes through the prostate gland. And so when the prostate starts to enlarge, it squeezes the urethra. And so it's basically cutting it off, essentially.
Oh.
You feel the urgency. So you have the urge, but there's nothing coming because the prostate is actually squeezing on the urethra and essentially tying it up.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, wrap up for me then. I'm so happy to have this discussion.
Marsha, I thank you so much for this discussion. It has been enlightening. It has brought a measure of awareness that, how we ought to look out for each other, the things that we ought to do and ought not to do. How we're not to eat so much mangoes. I'm sorry, Michelle had to go.
I really love the mango situation. It's hard for me too. It's very hard.
It's really hard for me. I must just confess and done. It's hard for me. Michelle had to leave and let us apologize because she had to be early in the morning. So we apologize for her leaving. But we appreciate her coming, spending the time with us. It's a little bit late. But
my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Persons have said that these discussions are very important, and we quite agree. And yes, I'm in the medical field, so it is true. This person is endorsing what you have said. Thank you for sharing so openly with us, and we look forward to continuing this discussion.
Let's have as many as we can afford. That's absolutely something I'd love to do, and it is my pleasure to be here. It's such a pleasant discussion,
Great.
I love it.
Thank you so much too.
All right.
Okay, people. We'll see you Saturday morning again.
Yes.
All right.
I remember you.
And Dan will admit to our misery.
All right.